Renee Whitaker had waited a long time to feel safe. Not the loud kind of safe, not the kind you post online, the quiet kind, the kind where you can exhale in a room and not flinch at footsteps. At 48, Renee finally believed she'd found it. A new husband, a clean chapter, a honeymoon that felt like proof she had not missed her chance at love. Then her phone died, and one borrowed laptop showed her something she could not unsee, her full legal name, in the subject line, and the words that made her stomach go cold. Capacity review. Before we go further, quick one. Comment where you're watching from, city and country. I love seeing how far these stories travel, and if you believe in dignity, fairness, and real accountability, tap like and subscribe. Now, back to Renee. Renee was not naive. She ran a small property management business in Atlanta. Not glamorous, not flashy, but stable. 2 rental duplexes owned outright, a third one with a modest mortgage, an investment account built slowly over years, not because life was kind, but because Renee refused to break. People called her cautious. Renee called it survival. Her first marriage had taught her what happens when you trust the wrong person with access. Not just access to your home, access to your accounts, your passwords, your signature. So when Graham Holt appeared in her life, he didn't feel like a risk. He felt like calm. Graham was 51, a security consultant who spoke softly. He dressed like a man who knew where the cameras were, even when there weren't any. He listened. He remembered small things, like how she took her tea and the name of her first dog. He held doors. He walked her to her car. He said he admired her independence, and when Renee mentioned she owned property, he didn't get greedy. He got protective. "That's a lot to carry alone," he said once, rubbing her shoulder like he was smoothing out a worry. "Let me take some of that weight. You deserve peace." Peace. That word landed on Renee like a warm blanket. 6 months later, he proposed, not in a stadium, not on camera, just in her kitchen, while the kettle screamed and life felt ordinary in the best way. When she said yes, she meant it. When they married, in a small ceremony with close friends, Renee felt something she hadn't felt in years. Chosen. They picked Maui for the honeymoon. Renee didn't need diamonds on sand. She needed space, warm air, ocean sound, a week where she didn't have to be strong for anyone. At the airport lounge, Graham took a call. "Work emergency," he said, leaning down to kiss her forehead. "I'll be right back, love." Renee smiled and watched him walk away with that steady stride. Then her phone flashed. 10% battery, 9, 8. She reached for her charger, not in her bag. She checked again, like it might appear if she believed hard enough. It didn't. Graham had their boarding passes saved as PDFs. He'd said, "Don't worry, I'll handle everything." Now her phone dropped to 3%. Boarding soon. Graham still on that call. His laptop sat in his bag by her feet. Renee hesitated. She wasn't the type to snoop. She'd never been the type to go looking for pain. But this wasn't snooping. This was boarding passes. She unzipped his bag, slid the laptop out, and opened it. The screen lit up fast. No password. That should have felt sweet, trusting. Instead, it felt careless or staged. A browser window was already open, email, and at the top of the inbox, one message line punched her in the chest. Renee Alyssa Whitaker, capacity review, draft steps. Her mouth went dry. For a second, she didn't move at all. The lounge noise faded. The clink of ice, the soft announcements, the distant rolling luggage. All of it disappeared behind those words. Capacity, review, draft steps. Her fingers hovered above the trackpad like her body was trying to decide whether to protect her mind by not knowing. Then, the part of her that had survived took over. She clicked. Inside was a thread of emails, professional tone, legal language, and the names at the bottom were not travel agents, senior partner, medical liaison, trust officer. Renee read the first paragraph. It wasn't a love letter. It was a plan to establish documented concerns about her mental state, A plan to suggest confusion and memory inconsistencies. A plan to arrange a neutral evaluation. Then a line tightened her throat. Once capacity is questioned, we can move to temporary decision support and immediate protective transfer of assets into the marital trust structure. Protective transfer, marital trust structure. Renee scrolled, slower now. Another email. Ensure she signs the routine travel update forms. Frame as insurance compliance. Another. Witnesses matter. We need at least 2 third parties who can later confirm erratic behavior if needed. Another. Do not escalate. If she resists, lean on care language. Safety, stress, hormones, menopause, grief, fatigue. Renee sat frozen. She kept scrolling until she saw the attachment. Draft, affidavit, spouse observations. Graham's name was typed on the signature line. Below it, bullet points, misplaces items, emotional fluctuations, paranoia about finances, fixated on imagined threats. Renee's lips parted. She almost laughed, not because it was funny, because it was evil. Her heart hammered. She could have slammed the laptop shut. She could have stood up and screamed. She could have marched down the lounge and yanked him off that call. But Renee had learned something the hard way. Loud reactions make people hide better. Quiet reactions make people slip. So she did the first thing a survivor does when the world tilts. She documented. She took photos of the screen with her dying phone. 1, 2, 3. Then she forwarded the email thread to herself. Hands steady. She downloaded the attachments to a folder and renamed it something boring. Travel PDFs. Her phone buzzed. 1%. She hit send. Her phone went black. But the evidence was already moving. Graham returned with his calm face. Sorry about that, he said, settling beside her. You all right? Renee looked up, and she saw it. Not panic, not love, assessment, like he was checking her, measuring her, looking for signs of what he'd described in those emails. Renee smiled softly. Fine, she said. My phone died, so I grabbed your laptop for the passes. A flicker crossed his eyes, small, fast. Then he laughed like it was nothing. Of course, he said. No problem at all. Did you get them? Yes, Renee said. All sorted. He leaned in, kissed her cheek. It didn't feel like affection now. It felt like a stamp, like he was marking property. Renee swallowed and kept her face relaxed, because now she understood. This honeymoon wasn't just a trip. It was a stage. And Graham had scripts. They landed in Maui under bright sun. The resort was beautiful. Open-air lobby, wood beams, soft music, staff smiling like nothing bad ever happens here. Graham was charming to everyone. He tipped well. He joked. He called Renee my queen. And whenever someone looked at them, he tightened his hand around hers just a little, as if to say, she is mine. That first evening, he brought out a folder. Just quick admin, he said. Resort insurance, excursion waivers. You know how it is. Renee's pulse rose, but her face stayed calm. She took the papers. They looked normal, mostly. Then she spotted it. Spousal travel health confirmation and decision support. Decision support. She remembered the email. Frame as insurance compliance. Graham slid a pen across the table. Just sign at the bottom, love. Routine. Renee picked up the pen. She didn't sign. She lowered it carefully. I need my reading glasses for this, she said gently. Small print. You know me. Graham smiled, but his jaw tightened for a fraction of a second. Of course, he said. I'll grab them. He walked away. Renee flipped the page over. There was more. A paragraph about authorizing Graham to assist with medical decisions if needed, due to travel stress. Renee took her charger from her bag, plugged her phone in, waited for a little power. Then she photographed every page, front and back. When Graham returned, she gave him the sweetest smile. Actually, she said, let's do these tomorrow. I'm tired. I want to enjoy our first night. He studied her, then kissed her forehead again. Anything you want, he said. But his eyes said something else. Pressure. The next morning, Graham suggested breakfast off resort. Renee agreed. The more normal she acted, the safer she stayed. On the drive, he kept his tone light. "I've booked us a couple's massage," he said, "and tomorrow something special, just for you." "What kind of special?" Renee asked. He smiled. "A wellness check-in, stress relief. You've carried a lot in your life. I want you looked after properly." Wellness check-in, harmless words, but her mind translated them instantly. Neutral evaluation. Renee looked out the window at palm trees blurring past. "Where is it?" she asked. "A clinic," he said. "Nothing serious. They're the best." Renee nodded slowly. "Sounds nice." She said it like she meant it. Then she began building exit routes. At the resort, she found the business center. She told staff she needed to print something for her rental business back home. The receptionist smiled. "No problem. If you need anything, let me know." Her name tag read, Yasmin. Yasmin was in her late 30s, warm eyes, quick brain. Renee printed the boarding passes as cover. Then she opened her email. The forwarded thread sat in her inbox like a loaded weapon. Renee downloaded everything to a USB drive, then another. Redundancy. Because Graham's plan was paperwork. Renee's protection would be paperwork too. She glanced at Yasmin. Something in Renee's face must have shown because Yasmin lowered her voice. "You okay?" Yasmin asked. "You look like you saw a ghost." Renee hesitated, then she chose truth, carefully measured. "I think my husband is setting me up," she said quietly. "Legally." Yasmin didn't gasp, didn't panic. She just nodded like she believed women. "Do you need a safe place?" Yasmin asked. That question alone felt like rescue. "No," Renee said. "Not yet, but I might need witnesses." Yasmin's eyes sharpened. "Then you have one," she said. That evening, Graham suggested a sunset dinner on the beach. He wore linen, gold watch, that soft, polished smile. Renee wore a simple white dress. She looked like every romantic postcard. Inside, she was reading him like a contract. Halfway through dinner, his phone buzzed. He glanced down. His smile tightened. He stood. "Quick call," he said. Renee watched him walk away. He didn't go far, not far enough. The ocean was loud, but not loud enough. Renee leaned back, face calm, eyes down, like she was admiring the candle. And she listened. Graham's voice was low. "You said tomorrow," he snapped softly. "Yes, I got her to look at the forms. No, she hasn't signed yet." Pause. "No, she's not suspicious," he said. "She's just careful. But she's tired. I can push tomorrow." Another pause. "Stop calling it a trap," he hissed. "It's protection. It's what she needs." Protection. The leash word. Renee's stomach rolled, but her face stayed still. Graham returned, smile back in place. "Everything all right?" Renee asked sweetly. He reached for her hand. "Perfect," he said. And Renee realized something terrifying. He could switch masks in seconds, which meant he had practiced, which meant she was not the first. If you've ever been told it's routine or it's policy, but it felt wrong, drop a comment with what happened. Did you sign or did you pause? The next day, Graham drove her to the clinic. It looked clean, bright, soft music. But it wasn't a spa. The receptionist didn't say, "Welcome." She said, "We've been expecting Mrs. Holt." Mrs. Holt. Renee had not changed her name. Graham squeezed her shoulder. "See? Everything's organized." Renee smiled lightly. Inside, alarms rang. They sat in a waiting room. A man in a suit walked out, clipboard in hand. "Mrs. Holt? We'll take you now." Graham stood too. "Oh, spouses don't come in," the man said quickly. Graham frowned. "What? I was told I could support her." Support, another leash word. The man glanced at Graham, then at Renee. "Policy," he said. Graham's smile tightened. He leaned close to Renee. "It's fine," he whispered. "I'll be right here." Renee nodded. She followed the man down the hallway. A door closed behind her. On the desk was a form, cognitive assessment. Under it, a checklist, short-term memory, emotional regulation, financial comprehension. A doctor entered, mid-40s, polite smile. "Good morning, Mrs. Holt. I'm Dr. Hart. Just routine questions." Renee folded her hands. Dr. Hart asked about sleep. Renee answered calmly. He asked about mood. Renee answered evenly. Then he drifted towards finances. Sometimes stress affects decision-making, he said. Who normally manages the household accounts? Renee smiled gently. I manage my own accounts, she said, and I keep finances private. Dr. Hart's smile flickered. He tried again, softer. Your husband mentioned you've been overwhelmed lately. Renee tilted her head. He did? Dr. Hart nodded. Renee kept her voice light. He's very protective, she said. Sometimes he worries more than I do. Dr. Hart made a note. Renee watched his pen. Then she did something subtle. She asked for copies. In case my primary doctor wants the record, she said. Dr. Hart hesitated, then printed. Renee took the copies, thanked him, and walked out. Graham stood immediately. How did it go? He asked. Renee smiled. Fine, she said. They'll email a summary. Graham's eyes narrowed. Did you tell them about your anxiety, your sleep problems? Renee blinked slowly. What anxiety? She asked gently. Graham laughed too fast. You know, just life. Renee nodded. Just life, she repeated. She watched his face. He wanted her to be unstable. He needed it. Back at the resort, Renee went to the bathroom, locked the door, turned on the tap for noise. Then she called one person she trusted, attorney Alicia Grant. Alicia was sharp, mid-40s, the kind of woman who didn't waste words. When Renee said, Alicia, I think my husband is setting up a capacity claim. Alicia didn't ask if she was sure. She asked, Do you have evidence? Renee exhaled. Yes. Good, Alicia said. Listen carefully. Do not confront him alone. Do not sign anything. Do not get isolated. And we need to secure your assets today. Renee's throat tightened. How? Alicia stayed calm. Emergency protective steps, notification to your bank, account flags, new passwords, two-factor on everything. If you have a property portal, lock it down. If you have an accountant, notify them. If he has any access, we cut it off. Renee swallowed. And the marriage? We'll handle that, Alicia said. But first we stop the bleeding. Renee stared at her reflection. Her face looked the same. Her eyes did not. She stepped out, smiled back in place. Then she did the most dangerous thing a woman can do to a controlling man. She acted normal. That afternoon, Renee sat by the pool with a book she wasn't reading. Graham was on calls again. Yasmin approached, holding a clipboard like it was part of her job. She leaned close. There's a woman at the concierge desk, Yasmin murmured. She asked about a guest named Graham Holt. She looks worried. Renee's stomach dropped. Where is she? Yasmin nodded toward the lobby. Renee walked slowly, like she had all the time in the world. In the lobby she saw her, a woman in her early 50s, elegant, tired eyes, hands gripping a handbag like it was a life jacket. When Renee approached, the woman looked up. Are you Renee? She asked quietly. Renee's heart thudded. Yes, Renee said. Who are you? The woman hesitated, then whispered, My name is Talia Mercer, and I think you married my husband. Renee's body went cold. Talia didn't cry. She looked ashamed, like she'd been blamed for her own harm before. He told me we were separated, Renee said, voice steady. Talia shook her head. No, she said. He told me I was unstable. Renee's throat tightened. Talia swallowed. He tried to get my accounts, she whispered. First it was for safety, then convenience, then suddenly I was confused. Renee stared at her. Did he file anything? Renee asked. Talia nodded. He tried, she said. But I had a friend, a witness. I fought it. Renee's mind raced. What happened to him? She asked. Talia's mouth tightened. Nothing criminal, she said. Just consequences. Quiet ones. He disappeared before the hearing finished. Then a year later he was dating again. Renee's chest tightened. Talia leaned closer. He's not after your love, she whispered. He's after your signature. Renee held her gaze. And now, Talia added, he knows I'm here. Renee nodded slowly. We'll keep you safe, Renee said. Talia blinked, surprised. "You'd do that?" Renee's voice was soft. "Women don't get saved by wishing," she said. "We get saved by evidence." That evening, Graham was extra tender, extra sweet. He brought flowers. He booked a private dinner. He talked about our future. Then he slid the folder across the table again. "Just one signature," he said softly. "So I can relax. So I know you're protected." Renee looked down at the pages. Same decision support language, same financial access, same words dressed up as love. Graham leaned in. "You trust me, don't you?" There it was. Trust, used as a weapon. Renee lifted her eyes. "I do," she said. Graham's shoulders loosened slightly. Renee picked up the pen. She smiled. "But I want to do it properly," she added. "My aunt always taught me to read before I sign." Graham chuckled. "I love that about you," he said, but his eyes hardened. Renee continued. "Let's go to the resort notary tomorrow," she said brightly. "Official, witnesses, clean." Graham paused. Notary. Witnesses. His jaw tightened, then his smile returned. "Sure," he said, "whatever makes you comfortable." But his tone had shifted. That night, Renee sent Alicia a message. Tomorrow, resort notary, public. Alicia replied fast. "Good. Keep witnesses near you. Do not be alone with him. I'm sending you a script. Follow it." Renee read the script. Short lines, clear boundaries, no emotion, no debate, because emotion is the opening. Renee met Talia quietly and told her what would happen. Talia agreed to be nearby. Yasmin agreed too. Renee sent the evidence to multiple places, her email, a cloud drive, Alicia, a trusted friend back home, because if Graham tried to erase her, he would fail. Renee lay in bed beside him, listening to his breathing. He slept easy, like a man who believed the world always bent for him. Renee stared at the ceiling. For the first time, she didn't feel like prey. She felt like a woman holding the trapdoor open, waiting for the right moment. The next day, Graham walked Renee to the resort notary room. Bright lobby, people coming and going, staff smiling. This was not a quiet corner. This was daylight. Graham carried the folder like it was harmless. The notary, a middle-aged man with glasses, greeted them. "Morning, names?" Graham spoke fast. "Graham Holt and my wife, Renee." The notary looked at Renee. "Identification?" Renee handed hers over calmly. The notary checked it, then paused. "Ms. Whitaker," he said. "This says Whitaker." Graham's smile froze for half a second. Renee spoke gently. "I haven't changed it yet," she said. "We're discussing it." Graham laughed too quickly. "Of course, just admin." The notary nodded, still cautious. "What are we signing today?" Graham opened the folder. "Routine travel authorizations," he said. "Decision support, medical permissions, financial access in emergencies." The notary raised his eyebrows. "That's a lot for travel." Renee smiled politely. "That's what I said." Graham's head turned slightly towards her. Renee kept going, calm as glass. "So I asked my attorney to join us by phone," she said. Graham's face changed, not anger yet, fear. "What?" he said softly. "Why would you do that?" Renee looked at him, same gentle tone. "Because it's smart," she said, "and because you told me you love how careful I am." Silence. Renee put her phone on speaker. Alicia's voice came through. "Good morning," Alicia said. "This is attorney Alicia Grant representing Renee Whitaker." Graham's smile twitched. Alicia continued. "Before any signatures, I'd like clarity," she said. "Why is Mr. Holt requesting financial access and decision support authorizations during a honeymoon?" Graham's voice sharpened. "It's protection," he said. "She gets overwhelmed. She forgets things. She's emotional." Alicia stayed even. "Mr. Holt, are you alleging she lacks capacity?" Graham hesitated. Renee watched his throat move. He chose his words carefully. "I'm saying she needs support," he said. Alicia replied calmly. "Then you will not object to postponing any signatures until independent review," she said. "Also, Mr. Holt, we have concerns regarding an email thread referencing capacity review and asset transfer linked to Miss Whitaker's legal name." The air changed. Graham blinked fast. "What email thread?" he asked too loud. The notary shifted in his chair. A couple walking past slowed slightly, noticing tension. Renee's voice remained soft. "The one you left open on your laptop," she said. "The one with my name in the subject line." Graham's face drained. He leaned towards her, voice tight. "Renee, don't do this here." There it was. Not apology, not confusion. Control. Alicia spoke again. "We have copies," Alicia said. "Attachments included. Draft affidavit included." Graham's eyes flicked around the lobby. He realized what Renee had built. Witnesses, a notary, public space, a shield. Graham tried to laugh. "This is ridiculous," he said. "She's paranoid." Renee nodded once. "Then it should be easy for you to explain why you wrote," she said, "that menopause is useful for your narrative." Graham froze, because that line was real, and he had forgotten what he'd said when he thought he was safe. The notary stood up slightly. "I'm not comfortable proceeding," he said. "If there are allegations of coercion, we stop." Graham's voice sharpened. "Sit down," he snapped, then caught himself. Too late. The notary's face hardened. "I'm ending this appointment," he said, "and I'm documenting why." Graham stepped closer to Renee. His voice dropped. "You're embarrassing yourself," he hissed. Renee looked up at him. She spoke loud enough for the lobby to hear. "I'm protecting myself," she said, "from the man who married me for my assets." Graham flinched. People turned. Yasmin appeared nearby, eyes steady. Talia stood at the edge of the lobby, calm. Renee raised her phone. "I'd like security," Renee said clearly. "Not his. Yours." Resort security approached. Graham lifted his hands, smile returning. "Misunderstanding," he said. "My wife is stressed." Renee looked at security. "I'm not stressed," she said. "I'm informed." Alicia's voice came through the speaker. "Ms. Whitaker is requesting separation and safe escort," Alicia said. "Any attempt to isolate her may constitute coercive control." Security nodded. "Ma'am, this way." Graham's mask cracked. "Renee," he said, voice sharp, "you can't do this." Renee paused. She looked at him one last time. Then she said softly, with the calm of a locked door, "I already did." That night, Renee moved to a separate room. Alicia arranged emergency steps within hours. Banks notified, accounts flagged, access locked, passwords changed, two-factor turned on, property system secured. A formal notice was sent to Graham. No financial authority, no medical authority, no power of attorney. And because Renee had proof, the story didn't become, "he said," she said. It became, "she has documents." Talia provided her own statement about Graham's previous attempt. Yasmin provided a witness statement about the forms and about Graham's behavior. The notary documented the confrontation. Everything was on record. When Graham tried to call Renee, she didn't answer. When he tried to message, she didn't reply. Alicia handled all contact. No drama, just boundaries. Within days, the marriage moved towards annulment on grounds of fraud, and Graham learned the thing men like him hate most. Renee wasn't emotional. She was organized. Before Renee flew home, Talia met her one last time near the lobby doors. Warm wind outside. Talia looked at Renee with something like relief. "I thought it was just me," Talia said quietly. Renee shook her head. "No," she replied. "It's a pattern." Talia reached into her bag and pulled out an envelope. Plain, unmarked, not dramatic. "I never opened this," Talia said. "It was referenced in my case, a sealed compliance report from a company he worked for. They said it explains how he operates." Renee stared at the envelope. "Why didn't you open it?" she asked. Talia's eyes tightened. "Because I wanted to forget," she said, "and because I was scared of what else I'd learn." Renee took the envelope gently. She didn't open it, not yet. She simply nodded. "Sometimes," Renee said, "the truth can wait." Then she looked Talia in the eye. "But it won't stay buried." Here's what this story is really about. Not romance, not revenge, protection. Real protection is not a leash dressed as love. Real love does not rush your signature. It does not isolate you. It does not call you confused when you ask questions. If anyone ever pressures you with, "It's routine," or "It's policy," or "It's for your safety," pause. Read. Photograph. Ask for a copy. Call someone who has no emotional reason to lie to you. Because quiet strength is not weakness. Quiet strength is how you win without losing yourself. If this story hit you, drop a comment. Would you have signed those routine forms, or would you have paused like Renee? And if you're here for dignity, fairness, and real accountability, like and subscribe. More stories are coming.